Man making a man. A man making $100,000 a year isn't making $100,000 a year because they want to. They're making it because they don't know how to make it in a month. Again, a man making $100,000 a year isn't making it in a year because he wants to. He's making it in a year because he doesn't know how to make it in a month. This is the You Are the Light podcast. I am your host, Chris, aka C Millie. Call me C Millie because I'm about to touch a millie. I am that man that was making that $100,000 a year, and about to go to making $100,000 a month. Hey man, say man, we're here today to talk about the first of the 12 riches of life. Again, we're here today to talk about the first of the 12 riches of life. Now, when you think about a life, and you think about a life, the life we're supposed to live, the very first one, as far as 12 riches of life, is a positive mental attitude. Now, when one thinks about living the life they live, in order to live a successful life, one has to live a life on their terms, living a life powerfully into the fullest potential without any constraints or limitations. It's a life rich on experience. Man, when you think about life, bro, all riches of whatever nature begins as a state of mind. One and only thing over which any person has complete, unchallenged right of any control. The Creator provided man with the power to shape his own thoughts, the privilege of fitting them to any pattern of his choice. Now, when I read that and I think about a pattern of our choice, that makes me think about our paradigm. If you don't know what a paradigm is, it's our habitual habit, basically our habit, the way we move daily, the way we move daily. We have the power to control that, to control our mind, to control our habits. And successful people work out because they know what it do for their mental attitude. When I think of positive mental attitude, from my standpoint, it's all about perspective, and it's all about how one goes through life or grows through life, shall I say? My brother, for those of you who don't know, my brother served 22 years in the federal penitentiary for murder. Now, one thinks about 22 years, that's a long time, right? A very long time. And at the age of 17, he was given a sentence of 42 years with parole at 17 years old. Can you imagine being a 17-year-old man? The judge say you have 42 years to serve with the option of probation. Like that's major. Now, being a 17-year-old, I can tell you one thing for sure, two things for certain. Your mental attitude will not be what it needs to be when you hear those words. One hears 42 years with parole, man, you thinking that's a long time. You gotta look at it from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at it from a different perspective. At the end of the day, one thing that I like to one thing that I like to mention and to talk about in regards to this life is the number one of the 12 riches of life, which is the positive mental attitude. If you got a positive mental attitude in this life here we live in, you can do and get whatever you want. And the reason why I say that is because no matter what happens to you in this life you're living, As long as you're positive, you'll be able to overcome it. You'll be able to live through it. You'll be able to sustain it. You'll be able to learn from it, and you'll be able to grow. So, a book that I'm huge on, and one that I have been studying for the past 6 years now, um, is by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich. And the reason why I've been studying this book for the last 6 years is because in 2017, when I asked God to use me, I began to go through what I call life to which I had never experienced before, and I had to deal with it by myself. And it's pretty much my story. So I stand here today, an author of a book called Youth Alive. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And in regards to that book, it's pretty much my life and my journey and how I've been able to overcome adversity. And some of the ways and some of the things that have helped me overcome the adversity has been this book right here called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, the reason why I actually picked up this book is because I was listening to a guy named Bob Proctor on YouTube. Shout out to Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor said for the past 50, 60 years, he's read this book every day. He held it up, and it was pretty much falling apart. So with it falling apart, and he said that he's read it every day, and the things that he was saying, as far as the world being nothing but energy, as far as paradigms, as far as the mental capacity, the mental altitude that our minds have, the power that our minds have. If this is an individual that has changed the world along the lines and the ways to which I wish to change the world, has reached millions and millions of people, I gotta listen to him. So I went and picked up this book, and I've been studying it ever since. And as far as today goes, positive mental attitude, the things that I'll be discussing is coming from the end of the book. It's actually the the last chapter of it, and the actual chapter is based on, or it's called "How to Outwit the Six Ghosts of Fear," and it goes to saying that life is energy. If it is anything, if neither energy nor matter can be destroyed, of course, life cannot be destroyed. Life, like other forms of energy, may be passed through various processes of transition or change, but it cannot be destroyed. Death is mere transition. So when I read that sentence and I understand that life is energy, that everything is energy and nothing can be destroyed, then I have to know and understand how to use the energy that is produced through the mind, right? So when it comes to what one wants in this life we're living, a man whose mind is filled with fear not only destroys his own chances of intelligent action, but he transmits those destructive vibrations to the mind of all who come into contact with him and destroys also their chances. I'm going to read that again. A man whose mind is filled with fear not only destroys his own chances of intelligent action, but also transmits these destructive vibrations to the minds of all who come in contact with him and destroys also their chances. Thoughts pass from one mind to another voluntarily, whether or not This fact is recognized by either the person releasing the thoughts or the person who picks up the thoughts. Mental telepathy is real. So if you're telling me that mental telepathy is real and I can unconsciously give off signals of my mind to other folk, they can pick it up without us even exchanging words is pretty powerful. I just recently went to an event called the Black Excellence event here in Dallas, Texas, and the event was full of full of energy, literally full of energy. From the time you walk through the door to the end of it, it was nothing but energy. It was nothing but Black excellence. It was nothing but people who wanted to change the world, which is what I enjoyed about it, which is what I loved about it. It was me being in actual form. I was able to be myself. I was able to be around individuals, like minded individuals who know and understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. It's a powerful thing when you can come in contact with somebody and they understand you without you even opening your mouth. And when I say that it's all energy and it's real because I have a goal and a vision of 40,000 African American males all looking good, feeling good, making good money. And I have that dream or that vision because I have a 2 year old son, a 1 year old son. My 2 year old son's name's Legend. My 1 year old son's name's Onyx. And they are going to change the world. Now, they can't change the world if I don't actually teach them how to change the world, or if they don't teach themselves how to change the world. But I am going to set the foundation so that they can, so that they will have what they need in life to understand what life is, if that makes sense, and the power of one's actual mind. Now, when it comes to thought processes and this life we're living and what we are growing through, you are the master of your earthly destination, of your earthly destiny, just as surely as you have the power to control your own thoughts. So, when it comes to one's destiny, you have to know and understand first and foremost what it is you want to do. Now, in order to figure out what it is you want to do, you have to figure out first and foremost who you are. You have to know, love, and believe in yourself. And that all starts in your mind. It all starts in your mental, and you have to be able to overcome the negative thoughts that go that coincide into one's mind. Um, if you are busy worrying about things that you cannot control, that's going to take away from your mental power so that you can actually do the things you need to do. So if you fail to control your own mind, you may be sure you will control nothing else. When you think about leadership, you think about people who have done something or who have succeeded in something to which they have mastered or to which they have perfected. You have to know that they have power and control over their own mind. Now, the mind, again, is so powerful that it transmutes energy. It transmits energy. It gives off vibrations to other people's minds. When one thinks about anyone who is deemed successful, right? Anyone who we say has a light to them, anyone who we say is giving off some type of energy of any type of positive or any type of success. I can't really say anything outside of that. When you think of someone who we deem successful in their field, they have been there for a really long time. The reason why I say that is because greatness takes time. Now, one, it gets good at their craft by practicing what they do daily. It's a daily method of operation that one goes through to which they can perfect their craft. Now, Just to give you an example of what I'm talking about here, um, I'm I'm a big basketball fan. I'm a big basketball fan, and I strong.